Today we're going to talk about keeping Pygmy Corydorus with shrimp, and a lot of times that involves them being kept in a 10-gallon aquarium because shrimp are most commonly kept in 10-gallon aquariums. Me and Avery here are out here looking for rocks, playing in Mother Nature as children should. What do you have to say, honey? You climbing a rock mound? Heck yeah, Mother Nature, America. No, I don't know. But guys, keeping Pygmy Corydorus in shrimp tanks is pretty, I'm going to talk about this. There's some caveats that you need to know. So please listen carefully, watch the video. And for the love of fish keeping, please subscribe and give this video a like. And also, give me a comment. I love hearing from you guys because fish keeping is my life. And I have multiple channels devoted to this. So without further ado, let's talk about keeping the Pygmy Corydorus with shrimp. So let's talk about this. The reason people choose the Pygmy Corydorus over all other types is because of how small they grow. The Pygmy Corydorus only grows to around 1 inch long, which makes it pretty small and probably can be kept with shrimp, right? That seems to add up. It almost seems like they'd be too small to even eat the shrimp or the babies. So is that the case? That's the question. Alright, so let's think of some of the variables when keeping these fish together. First of all, I think the most common one everyone thinks of is the Corydorus going to eat the shrimp? And if you think about it, the Pygmy Cory grows to around 1 inch. Your average size cherry shrimp doesn't get all that big. I don't think the Pygmy Cory has the ability to eat a full-size shrimp. But it really depends what shrimp you're keeping them with as well. Most people are going to keep them with common shrimps like cherry shrimp. I don't think that's going to happen, but here's the thing. The Corydorus could maybe possibly eat the little shrimplets, you know, the baby shrimp when they're breeding and such. So, and then the second thing you could think of is, I'm trying to think here. What could happen is when you're feeding the two, they could out-compete themselves. You know, one of them could starve to death. You know, if the Corydorus eats all the shrimp food when you put it in there, the shrimp are going to starve to death possibly. That's also something you need to worry about. And also, the water parameters. You know, can your shrimp be kept in the same water parameters as the Pygmy Corydorus? And, you know, if you're keeping basic shrimp, they should be kept together pretty easily. You know, I'm kind of dragging this out because I like thinking about this stuff and I like to push your mind as far as what you should be thinking about when thinking about keeping fish like this together, you know, or animals like this together in a glass box. All right, I'll get to the point. I'm sure a bunch of you guys are like, hey, Chris, get to the dang point already. Long story short, right? All right, I'll get to the point here, guys. I will say with my experience, I have effectively kept Pygmy Cory catfish with cherry shrimp. So it is very easy to do. You really don't have to even be all that careful because it seems like the Pygmy Corys have no desire to even screw with the shrimp or feed on them. You know, here's the thing with Corydorus a lot of people don't understand. Corydorus, for the most part, only want to congregate with each other. They only want to play with each other. Like, they only want to commingle with other Corydorus. And not only that, but single species, you know, like by themselves. You know, like a Pygmy Corydorus probably isn't going to be hanging out with like an albino Cory as much as their own species would, if that makes any sense. And if you're buying Corydorus, buy a school of them of the same species so that they can be together, because that's how you need to do it with Corys. But yeah, as far as feeding, just feed them at the same time and maybe have a specific food set out for the shrimp versus also the Corydorus, and have different foods if possible. And what I try to do is I get into the habit of feeding them in the same spot. So, you know, I'll feed all the shrimp on the right side of the tank and all the Corydorus on the left side. And of course, out of habit, they start to go to the same place every time they eat, and it becomes a habit, and they somewhat rely on it every single day. Hopefully that makes sense. And what this does is it kind of separates the competition between the Corydorus and the shrimp, because, you know, if they get into the habit of sharing each other's foods, there's more chance of a competition occurring, kind of like dogs. You know, a lot of dogs have issues when feeding together, so what you do is you put their bowls on different ends of the bedroom or different ends in the area you're feeding. Sorry, I'm just having troubles explaining this. And that's exactly what I do with the fish versus the shrimp. So yes, guys, you can effectively keep Pygmy Corydorus with shrimp. I highly advise you do cherry shrimp because I've personally done this and it works quite well. Alright guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up. Hopefully that helps answer your question on if you're wondering if you can keep Pygmy Cory catfish with shrimp. So the answer is yes. Just, with a caveat, please use the variables I talked about when keeping them together. And if you can, do a 10-gallon aquarium minimum because keeping shrimp, most commonly shrimp are kept in a 10, sometimes a 5, but I highly advise a 10 because Corydorus need to be in a school and the more room, the better for all of these inhabitants. So please, guys, hit up the comment section. Let me know if you've kept Pygmy Corydorus with shrimp in a 10-gallon aquarium, or if you're researching it, or if you're not going to right now, maybe you want to upgrade your 5-gallon. I love hearing from you guys. Please give this video a like for the love of fish keeping. Subscribe to my channel. I have 3 different channels where I blab about fish tanks, so this is completely my life. I'm also covered in tattoos. I have a bunch of Facebook groups, and yeah, if you don't get the hint yet that this is completely my life, please message me and I will explain it to you. No, I don't know. All right, guys, please have a nice day and thank you and love fish.